know you'll be right there with it.
Welcome back to Fast Money. Bitcoin falling below $10,000 today as regulators crack down on crypto. And now Facebook is joining the fray. Bob Pisani is at the New York Stock Exchange with more. Hi, Bob.
More news on Bitcoin. It wasn't just a tough day for stocks, it was also a tough day for cryptocurrencies in general. Bitcoin dropped below $10,000 once again, but it did close fractionally above that. Importantly, most of the selling occurred in the morning and mid-afternoon when U.S. traders would dominate. Now, some of this decline may be due to more regulatory concerns. Now, remember, all the cryptocurrencies dropped in December on concerns of a crackdown or an outright ban from South Korean and Chinese regulators. This time it was different. Today, it was reported that the CFTC in the U.S. had sent a subpoena to Bitfinex and Tether in December. Now, Bitfinex is an exchange and a currency storage platform. In fact, it's the world's largest Bitcoin exchange platform. Tether is a cryptocurrency that claims it is backed by $1 US that is held in reserve. Each one. This helps facilitate transactions at a fixed rate to the U.S. dollar. Okay, it's not clear what the subpoena is about exactly, but Bitfinex and Tether both share the same CEO. Now, Tether says all of its coins are backed by U.S. dollars held in reserve, but the company has not yet provided clear evidence of its holdings. This is important because it's easy to trade the token for Bitcoin at Bitfinex, and that additional liquidity may have been a factor in lifting Bitcoin prices. So in addition to regulatory risk, there's another roadblock for cryptocurrency promoters. Let's call it advertising risk. Today, Facebook said it was banning all ads that promote cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, and it also includes initial coin offerings, those are ICOs, claiming that many of the companies in this space are, quote, not currently operating in good faith. The ban will extend beyond Facebook's core apps and include Instagram as well. And here's the funny part, Melissa. Facebook's board of directors includes two investors, Mark Andreessen and Peter Thiel, whose firms have been very prominent crypto backers. Back to you.
Yep. All right, Bob. Thank you. Bob Pisani at the New York Stock Exchange. So are retail investors falling out of love with Bitcoin? Gasp. Nick Colas is Data Trek Research's co-founder, and he joins us now with some surprising crypto info. Hi, Nick. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So it seems like interest is waning a bit, isn't it?
More than a bit. Yeah, we look at Google Trends to see how many people are searching for anything with Bitcoin in the Google search engine. And going into December, it skyrocketed. It tripled in terms of total number of searches worldwide. And you saw that correlate to the increased number of wallets. Wallet growth went from 4 or 5% monthly to over 10% in December. What do you think happened? Bitcoin rallied to these highs. But since then, in January, the search volume has come way down 75%, and wallet growth has slowed as well, back down to that 4% level. So it's very much a case where you've got to hold interest in new Bitcoin owners to get Bitcoin to go up.
So wallet growth in terms of the number of accounts or the number of wallets open, correct? But that doesn't necessarily reflect the amount of money in that wallet or being put in that wallet or traded within that wallet. And have you noticed if perhaps the search is brought in from Bitcoin to Ethereum, Litecoin, some of the other Ripple, some of the other coins out there?
It has. I mean, Bitcoin has really what I call is the gateway drug to all cryptos. And it has acted exactly that way. And that is how it moves. So some of the movement in Ethereum, for example, which is traded much better, has been just money getting pulled out of Bitcoin. So it's absolutely the case. And the ratio of searches in Google roughly correlates to the market cap values of the different cryptocurrencies.
So how much of a leading indicator do you think this could be?
So far, it's been a very reliable leading indicator. It showed us the way up, and it showed us the way back down.
Is it leading or coincident?
It is leading to wallet growth, which is coincident with price, which makes a ton of sense. So right now, it's telling me there really isn't yet that next leg up in Bitcoin because we're not seeing that next leg up in interest that leads to wallet growth, that leads to price appreciation.
Nick, to what extent can you guys do analysis on the correlation between Bitcoin and what's going on in the overall market? So on a day like today, it doesn't surprise me to see that, we can't, and this may not be a fair assessment of Bitcoin holders, but the reality is this is not a stable group of institutional investors. So what do you surmise on the next move if this market goes lower?
Yeah, you're spot on. And I was interested to see the correlation of the pull down in Bitcoin with the futures trading in the morning. Right. And what you see is we also use Google Trends to see when people Google the stock market, because that's been a reliable indicator of volatility that day. And searches for stock market before the open today were the highest in a week. The only prior time was the close on Friday on that rip into the close. So that told me that people were worried about it. And I think that open this morning was retail investors saying, whoa, I'm probably a little bit out over my skis. Let's pull back in. Institutions didn't come in to save us. Same thing happened with Bitcoin. Pulled down at the open. People said, okay, I got to pull back risk in everything I own. And we saw the follow through.
You're not getting the sense that this is the same pool of people, though.
It's people with money, right?
Okay.
People with money tend to put it places. Stock market, right. Bitcoin. It's a small fraction. There's only 22 million wallets
right.
In the world. There's many more brokerage accounts. But in terms of who can invest in anything, it's going to be the same affluent base of people.
All right, Nick, great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fascinating stuff. Nick Colas.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, look, I find what's really interesting is the linchpin to this story is really getting the institutional investor on the investment, investing
right.
in these names. So the institutional investor interest, in my opinion, and what I've seen in people I'm talking to, seems to have skyrocketed, if you will. So I look at it and say all the conferences that are going on, they're drawing major institutional investors to this. You're seeing the likes of some big funds in the U.S. and across the world essentially gravitating toward these conferences, paying big bucks to get there to find out what's going on. They're the next money. They're the next leg of sort of investment that jumps in here. And I think that's when you see a massive turn.
I think when you look towards the government and regulations, you have February 6th, I think, is the date that we were talking about as far as the Senate Banking and Finance Committee that is going to start to revisit Bitcoin and regulations. And I think people are going to get out of that way right. until they see what type of dialogue and how it sounds and the heat coming out of these senators' mouths is going to be.
Right. But we should note that Robinhood goes live on Thursday in terms of Bitcoin trading, right? Mm-hmm. So you can theoretically trade for free, which had been a big knock on Coinbase, right? The fees to get in and out of a trade are pretty high.
Prohibitive for some. Yeah. I just can't help think though that the shareholder base in the market is now overlapping a lot more with the Bitcoin holder than ever was the case. One of the things about Bitcoin was it wasn't correlated to anything. I can't help but think they are far more correlated now as it goes mainstream and as we have other instruments to use beside Bitcoin. And so when you have a really difficult market like we did today, stock market, I think the correlation is just going to be higher going forward.
Is everywhere.
Yes.
Yep.
But Bitcoin really lost its edge before this move, right? I mean, Bitcoin's been lost its edge for a couple weeks. And
all the crypto, the whole space, I mean.
Yeah, but I think about a lot of the money that funded these Bitcoin accounts. Credit card was the easiest way to do it. And that is levered money. And that is money that gets called back in at the end of the month, or if you made some dough, that's why these responses, futures markets are more levered. There you go.
All right, still ahead, Electronic Arts and Advanced Micro on the move after hours. Those conference calls are underway. We'll bring you all the headlines later this hour. Plus, Wynn under fire, pressures mounting for the casino giant as its conference business hangs in the crosshairs. CNBC's Contessa Brewer is live in Las Vegas with more on that story. Hi, Contessa.